God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay, for Jesus Christ our Saviour was born upon this day, to save us all from Satan's power when we were gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy, oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
Once upon a time, of all the good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. It was cold, bleak, biting weather, foggy withal, and he could hear the people in the court outside go wheezing up and down, beating their hands upon their breasts and stamping their feet upon the pavement stones to warm them. The city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. It had not been light all day, and candles were flaring in the windows of the neighbouring offices like ruddy smears upon the palpable brown air. The fog came pouring in at every chink and keyhole, and was so dense without that although the court was of the narrowest, the houses opposite were mere phantoms. To see the dingy cloud come drooping down, obscuring everything, one might have thought that nature lived hard by and was brewing on a large scale.
The door of Scrooge's counting house was open, so that he might keep his eye upon his clerk, who in a dismal little cell beyond a sort of tank was copying letters. Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clerk's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal. But he couldn't replenish it, for Scrooge kept the coal box in his own room. And so surely, as the clerk came in with the shovel, the master predicted that it would be necessary for them to part. Wherefore the clerk put on his white comforter and tried to warm himself at the candle, in which effort, not being a man of strong imagination, he failed.
"A Merry Christmas, Uncle, and a Happy New Year,"
cried a cheerful voice. It was the voice of Scrooge's nephew, who came upon him so quickly that this was the first intimation he had of his approach.
"Bah!"
said Scrooge.
"Humbug!"
His nephew had so heated himself with rapid walking in the fog and frost that he was all in a glow. His face was ruddy and handsome, his eyes sparkled, and his breath smoked again.
"Christmas? A humbug, Uncle. You don't mean that, I am sure."
"I do. Merry Christmas. What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough."
"Come then, what right have you to be dismal? What reason have you to be morose? You're rich enough."
Scrooge, having no better answer on the spur of the moment, said,
"Bah!"
and followed it up with,
"Humbug!
"Don't be cross, Uncle."
What else can I be when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas. Out upon Merry Christmas. What's Christmas time to you but a time for paying bills without money? A time for finding yourself a year older but not an hour richer? A time for balancing your books and having every item in 'em through a round dozen of months presented dead against you? If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips would be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart. He should.
Uncle!
Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way, and let me keep it in mine.
Keep it? But you don't keep it.
Let me leave it alone then. Much good it may do you. Much good it has ever done you.
There are many things from which I might have derived good by which I have not profited, I dare say. Christmas among the rest. But I am sure I have always thought of Christmas time when it has come round, apart from the veneration due to its sacred name and origin, if anything belonging to it can be apart from that, as a good time. A kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. The only time I know of in the long calendar of the year when men and women seem by one consent to open their shut-up hearts freely and to think of people below them as if they really were fellow passengers to the grave and not another race of creatures bound on other journeys. And therefore, Uncle, though it has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good and will do me good, and I say, God bless it."
The clerk in the tank involuntarily applauded. Becoming immediately sensible of the impropriety, he poked the fire and extinguished the last frail spark forever.
Let me hear another sound from you, and you'll keep your Christmas by losing your situation. You're quite a fine speaker, sir. I wonder you don't go into Parliament.
Don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow.
Scrooge said that he would see him in... Yes, indeed he did. He went the whole length of the expression and said that he would see him in that extremity first.
But why? Why?
Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Because you fell in love.
Growled Scrooge, as if that were the only thing in the world more ridiculous than a Merry Christmas.
Good afternoon.
Nay, Uncle, you never came to see me before that happened. Why give it as a reason for not coming now?
Good afternoon.
I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why cannot we be friends?
Good afternoon.
I am sorry with all my heart to find you so resolute. We have never had any quarrel to which I have been a party, but I have made the trial in homage to Christmas, and I'll keep my Christmas humour to the last. So a Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Good afternoon.
And a Happy New Year.
Good afternoon.
On that same night, when Scrooge was in bed, 3 visions came into his head. The ghosts of Christmas, future, present, and past, that taught him only few things in this life last. Not wealth, not status, not power, nor fame, but only love has a burning flame to go on in our memory after we pass. It's our friends who raise the parting glass. And so, with this knowledge, Scrooge awoke with a start, a peculiar feeling welling up in his heart.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa-la-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la.
'Tis the season to be jolly.
Fa-la-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la. Fill the mead cup, drain the barrel, fa-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la. Troll the ancient Christmas carol, fa-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la. Fast away the old year passes, fa-la-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la.
Hail the new year, lads and lasses.
Fa-la-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la. Laughing, quaffing all together, fa-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la. Heedless of the wind and weather, fa-la-la-la, fa-la-la-la-la.
I don't know what to do. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. I'm as giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody! A Happy New Year to all the world!
Scrooge frisked into the sitting room and was now standing there perfectly winded. Running to the window, he opened it and put out his head. No fog, no mist. Clear, bright, jovial, stirring cold. Cold piping for the blood to dance to. Golden sunlight, heavenly sky, sweet fresh air, merry bells. Oh, glorious, glorious!
What's today?
Cried Scrooge, calling downward to a boy in Sunday clothes, who perhaps had loitered to look about him.
What's today, my fine fellow?
Today? Why, Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. The spirits have done it all in one night. Well, of course they have. They can do anything they like. Of course, of course. Hello, my fine fellow.
Hello?
Do you know the poulterers in the next street but one, on the corner?
I should hope I did.
An intelligent boy, a remarkable boy. Do you know if they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there? Not the small prize turkey, the big one.
What? The one as big as me?
What a delightful boy. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck.
It's hanging there now.
It is? Go and buy it.
Walker.
No. I am in earnest. Go and buy it and tell him to bring it here that I may give them the direction where to take it. Come back with the man and I'll give you a shilling. Come back in less than 5 minutes and I'll give you half a crown.
The boy was off like a shot. He must have had a steady hand at a trigger who could have got a shot off half as fast.
I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's,
whispered Scrooge, rubbing his hands and splitting with a laugh.
and he shan't know who sent it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim.
He dressed himself all in his best, and at last got out into the streets. The people were by this time pouring forth, and walking with his hands behind him, Scrooge regarded everyone with a delighted smile. He looked so irresistibly pleasant, in a word, that 3 or 4 good-humoured fellows said, "Good morning, sir. A Merry Christmas to you." And Scrooge said often afterwards that of all the blithe sounds he'd ever heard, those were the blithest in his ears.
He went to church and walked about the streets and watched the people hurrying to and fro and patted children on the head and questioned beggars and looked down into the kitchens of houses and up into the windows and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon, he turned his steps towards his nephew's house. He passed the door a dozen times before he had the courage to go up and knock, but he made a dash and he did it.
Is your master at home, my dear?
Yes, sir.
Where is he, my love?
He's in the dining room, sir, along with the mistress. I'll show you upstairs, if you please.
Oh, thank ye. He knows me. I'll go in here, my dear. Fred?
Why, bless my soul, who's that?
It's I. Your Uncle Scrooge. I've come to dinner. Will you let me in, Fred?
Let him in. It is a mercy he didn't shake his arm off. Scrooge was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be heartier. His niece looked just the same. So did Topper when he came. Oh, so did the plump sister when she came. So did everyone when they came. Wonderful party. Wonderful games. Wonderful unanimity. Wonderful happiness.
Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all, and infinitely more.
He became as good a friend, as good a master, and as good a man as the good old city ever knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world.
Some people laughed to see the alteration in him, but he let them laugh and little heeded them, for he was wise enough to know that nothing ever happened on this globe for good, at which some people did not have their fill of laughter in the outset.
Ever afterwards, and it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that be said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, every one.
O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. O come, let us adore him. O come, let us adore him. O come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord.